G'day, I'm Steve from Woodworking Masterclass. You know, I receive a lot of requests of people asking me to put up some projects that are really simple DIY projects. Now up until this stage I haven't, but I am listening because a lot of you have sent requests in, so here's the first one. This is a horse saddle stand. Now I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have got young ones that do pony club or horses and you need somewhere to store the saddle. Here's an easy project you can do in a matter of a couple of hours on a weekend and get the kids involved as well. And I'd like to take this time to acknowledge the help that I've received from masters who were gracious enough to supply all the materials for this job and all the Bosch tools that were seen in the making of this project. And transfer that mark up a few inches, and we'll do exactly the same with this one. Now the longer pieces, remember we had them cut at 500, so just check to make sure they're at 500 and then mark a line halfway along that. This is 500, so that's 250. Continue that line up. Now line these two pieces of timber up here so they're flush. That's hard up against there. That's hard up against there, so they're flush. And then you line this line and that line up together. And you know where you are. Now, at this stage, you can either just screw it or put a bit of glue. I personally like putting a little bit of glue. Line it up again and push down. I mean, you can at this stage put a clamp on there if you want. Just bearing in mind when you clamp it up it will move a little bit, so just check to make sure you're nice and flat. Give that a bit of a tighten. With these you can pre-drill if you like, but it's going into pine so it's going to go in fairly easy. If it was a harder wood I'd definitely pre-drill holes first. Then get a screwdriver. If you've got a normal screwdriver you might want to pre-drill if you're using a hand screwdriver. Now there's no rhyme or reason where they go. Put one diagonally opposite. And there we are. Clean up the glue, squeeze out down the side. Now while we work on this one, we might as well do it all in one hit. So the shorter bit that you've got left, position that on top of the leg you just screwed on. Again, you can put some screws in it or you can glue it. I'll put a couple of screws and a bit of glue. Because I'm going to screw this, I'm not worried about spreading the glue out evenly. Put that in place, a couple of screws in. And that should hold that. And we do the same to the other bit. All right. There we go. We've got these two uprights now with feet on them and supports, and the tops have been cut into the pointy bits. We want two of these cut into 500, which gives us the 400s for these bits here. Get them to cut another bit at 600 and the 300s waste. But the 600 bit we actually use as a spreader bar, and I'll show you how that fits on now. In fact, what I'm going to do is drill a couple of holes here, because if not I'm actually going to split those ends because it's too close to the end. Okay. We'll put two screws in there. sure it's nice and tight down there. Dab a glue on the end here. Make sure they're all sitting nice and square. And just for added strength, pop one screw through the ends. So there we have the finished frame. I normally have the top about 30 or 40 mil hanging over either end. So if I measure that, I've got 40 mil there, 40 mil. Well, if I cut that at about 720, that should look quite good. So we'll put that to one side. Pick up the crowning, make sure one end's nice and square. And then with your measuring tape. Now this length you can have whatever you like, but for this project we'll do 720. You might want to make a double one and put two saddles on it. So 720 is pretty close to there. Draw a line up there. And follow it down the other side and cut there, cut there. Again, if you've got a jigsaw or a table saw, use that. If not, you could use a handsaw. In this case, I think I'll use a jigsaw. Then the end here, we'll just sand that off. Just a piece of sandpaper, take the rough edges off. Or if you're fortunate enough to have a power sander, then by all means use it. Now it's time to put it all together. A little bit of glue down each side. Get the top, put it on so it's even. How I tell if it's even is I judge it by these knuckles on these fingers, where they're the same distance apart. I tell you what, it's pretty close. And mark screw holes either side. If you're wondering how I do that, if you use your fingers as a gauge, if you close your eyes, have two fingers open, close your eyes, this finger can go straight between, you don't have to look. It's exactly the same when you're measuring up for using your fingers as a gauge to put a screw in. If you put your fingers separated and then you just allow your other finger to find the centre, you'll never miss your bit of timber. Might want to just drill pilot holes for these because this part's going to be seen and you don't really want to have a crack on the top. Pilot hole, change over to a screwdriver bit. Screw in and tighten it up. I'll just finish the other three of these off, then we're finished. Well, that's it. One saddle stand, finished. Now, if you like, it's ready to go into the stable the way it is, or if you want to do a little bit of extra work on it, you could just arras these edges with a bit of sandpaper or a sander. And what I want to do is on the base of these feet, I'm just going to cut these off at 45 degrees. That'll make it a little bit safer so you don't shin yourself on it. And if you want to do a finish on it, I would recommend a boiled linseed oil. That's it as far as the project goes for the horse saddle stand. Now, I hope you enjoy making it and you find it not too difficult. As I said, it's a minimum of timber. There's 7 pieces of timber, less than 20 screws, minimum tools and minimum skill level. So I'm sure you'll be able to accomplish it. Let me know how you go. This is Steve, pulling the shed door down for another project and saying to remember to keep it sharp, but more importantly, keep it safe and enjoy your woodwork. Bye for now.